Hello and welcome back to The Sweet Spot. Today it is my absolute pleasure to introduce Sharny, Australia's fit mum, to you all. She rocketed to stardom in 2001 when she released her book, Never Died Again. Her and her husband Julius have had years of experience soul searching and deep reflection to find out the question why, as a nation or as a population, we seem to be getting more unhealthy rather than healthy, given the amount of information that we all have available to us. It seems like fat and unhealthy is the norm rather than slim and athletic. And they've written a couple of books which has helped many people to lose weight naturally and keep it off. And as a result, their teachings are not about dieting. It's about health and lifestyle. With 6 kids in their household, and I'm serious, count them, 6 kids, Sharny has boundless energy, and I'm telling you, I want to know how. So welcome, Sharny.
Welcome. Thanks for having me, Kim. Thanks for having me, everybody.
So, Sharny, really, you have 5 under 5. Tell us what's the hardest thing for you about being as awesome as you are and managing that.
I think for us, for me especially as a mum, it's just going easy on myself, like not understanding, have a structure and have a routine in your day, but know that could go out the window at any point with children. When you're a parent, a mum or a dad, you know that you can have a plan, but it always doesn't go that way with kids. So for me especially, and I guess Julius has probably taught me to do this and just said, "Hun, go easy on yourself. It doesn't matter if, the kitchen's not spotless all the time," and, all those sort of things that we put so much pressure on ourselves as a mum to fit in so much. So what I've learned over the years, and that's now with my exercise especially, is I don't have an hour to work out a lot of the time. Like if I could go off and do a 10K run because I do enjoy running, that would be amazing. But reality is that doesn't happen. That might happen once a fortnight if I'm lucky and the stars align. I can go off for an hour run. But most of the time I work out, so literally have my children at my feet and they're 10 minutes. So, and that's, you just go with the flow. So what I've learned is just to go with the flow with parenting and with life a little and be happy and just enjoy it because it is a journey.
Yeah, it certainly is. And so just talking about going with the flow, I mean, I didn't have as many kids as what you have, but the flow can sometimes go anywhere but looking after myself. So how do you stay in the flow but have yourself as your priority as well?
I prioritise myself because I find if I prioritise myself, and that's not neglecting my kids at all, I mean making sure that I do my exercise for the day, then I'm a happier person and I'm a better mum and I'm a better wife and I'm just a better person to be around. I don't feel stressed or anything like that. I kind of it takes that edge off. I know for mums or dads that suffer anxiety or stress or anything like that, and I know everyone gets stressed in any particular moment or if a situation happens, but I find if I've exercised, I can handle the day a lot better. And if I'm eating right, so when I start eating junk food or eating foods that don't agree with my body, I know my behaviour changes. So for myself and for my kids, I just choose to eat healthy because it makes me a better mum. So as a priority, I always make sure I'm eating right and I'm exercising. And when I say exercise, I'm always exercising with my kids, but I don't go, you know what, I can't do that. I've got to do a load of washing instead today. I'll make sure that my exercise, even if it's 10 minutes, and I mean, I've even got a 4-minute workout that I do, which I can share with you if you like.
Oh, we would love to do.
Sometimes I literally only have 4 minutes. It's like, righto, I'll just do the 4-minute workout today, and then I can actually tick my exercise off the list for the day, because there's also around, and I think it's more subconscious, if we keep letting ourselves down subconsciously, saying we're going to exercise and not going to, or saying we're going to start a blog or I'm going to start eating healthy on Monday, if we keep not doing it, it kind of knocks our self-esteem around and we feel, whether it's conscious or subconscious, we kind of feel guilty about that.
Yep.
So I just make sure that each day, whether it's 4 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever I get, I just do my exercise for the day because it's something I promised myself, and it then has that ripple effect of always subconsciously knowing that I'm doing it, if that makes sense.
I really hear what you're saying, because it's like every time you put a penny or, you know, a cent in the jar, that is, you know, yes, I can trust myself to exercise and eat well. That's when you know that that it will flow on.
Yes. And it's that subconscious discipline that it will just stick, you know, 100 days of doing it, or what do they say, 30 days or whatever. You just make sure you do the things, and it may not be exercise for some people. Some people might find exercise easy, and it might be just you might have a book that you want to write. So every day you write a little bit on that book. So you're disciplining yourself in something that means a lot to you as a mum to have done. Because I find that, yeah, I'm a mum and I'm racing around changing pooey nappies and probably got poo under my fingernails half the time and things like that we do. And but I still love to achieve things as a woman.
Yeah.
And as a career, like for my own personal career. And I find that I'm happiest when I'm still achieving those things for me. So, because Julia says all the time, honey, our kids are going to leave home one day and they're going to have their own lives. So we still need, at the end of the day, to have our relationship and our love for each other when they do leave, and also have our own identities of what we've got as a career. Otherwise, when they leave, if you devote everything to your children, it's like you'll be so sad that they're gone. You won't have achieved anything for yourself. So I guess what I tell all of my fit mums out there when I'm chatting to them most days is you can have everything. You know, you can juggle, everything works. You can juggle everything, and it may be a bit of a shifting, and there may be some days may be harder than others, but you can exercise, you can spend time with your kids, you can have your own career, you can have an amazing relationship with your husband or your wife or whatever you want to do. It's just that balance of just juggling it and going with the flow, and priority over everything is just being happy, because every day when we wake up we get a choice on our behavior. We can choose to be happy, we can choose to be angry, we can choose to be sad, we can choose to be depressed. And I know there's a lot more to it sometimes mentally with people, but you can definitely, and I've been there, you can train your thoughts. You can either choose to think positively and optimistically, or pessimistically and negatively. It's just a choice. And if you keep it that simple for yourself, it makes life a little bit easier.
Yeah, you bet. And I think attitude is a really big part of it. You know, I had the experience this morning when I was taking the kids to school. A house, maybe 5 houses down the street, like quite a distance, I could hear the woman screaming, "Get into the car!" And I noticed, like, you know, I have a lot on today, and I could notice, you know, whilst I was getting the kids ready for school, that I was like, right, got to get it, and I'm thinking ahead, and then I heard this woman screaming, and I've got to thank her, because it made me go, oh gosh, that's not the way I want to be this morning. And I took a breath outside, and I came back in, and I was like, right, kids, let's get going. And it totally, like, hearing her anger and her frustration actually totally put me back in the moment of how I want to be and how I want my day to flow.
Yeah, it's amazing when you watch it, because we're all guilty of yelling or losing our cool.
Yeah.
And when you see it from somebody else, you're like, wow, okay, that's not okay. But I mean, I'm guilty of it. I've done it, and I agree with you. It only stresses you out. It stresses the kids out. And if you're yelling at the husband, it stresses your relationship out. So it's just easier to take that moment and go, you know what? The best way to deal with this, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. We're going to get there when we're going to get there. You just got to go with the flow.
That's right.
Oh gosh, I love that philosophy, just going with the flow and doing what I can in every moment.
Yeah. I think that's really great. So you have such little children at the moment, a 10-week-old, an 18-month, and you said 3, 4, and 5, is that right? Yeah. And then your 19-year-old.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Sharny. So just give us, like, you know, you told me before, you know, this interview that you were currently looking at, like, losing your baby weight, and like, how do you do that given, you know, your current schedule?
Well, like I said, I just find a place to fit it in, but I have 8 kilos to lose at the moment after Magnus, and my ab separation has been a little bit different this time. It's been a lot harder to repair. I found that out of every pregnancy, it's probably taken my toll a little bit more this time with the recovery around my tummy and everything.
Yeah.
But I'm not stressed about it, because I know that if I just believe in the process of just eating healthy and exercising and doing my all my ab separation exercises that I do, and I've done because I've got my Fit Mum program that I do, and I just trust that every time. This is the third time I've done it, and I just go with that. So I've done the pre-season a little bit longer this time before I've started Fit Mum, just so that my abs have a little bit easier to prepare and just sort of to get repaired again.
Yeah, awesome.
For me, I guess the main thing is just making sure that I fit it in. Like, and most of the time, if I don't get it, like mornings is quite difficult. A lot of the time, Julius and I'll do a workout in the afternoon. He'll do the Fit Dad and I'll do the Fit Mum program. And we'll just have our kids in the yard, either riding their bikes. A lot of the time they like to do it. Like, so they'll do a few burpees or they'll do a few sit-ups or whatever the exercise is. And then they'll toddle off and they'll ride their scooter and then they'll come back. And they love it. Like, we Snapchat it a lot of the time because mums and dads ask us how we do it. So we put a lot on our Snapchat just for people to get ideas of how we live our life. It's kind of like behind the scenes for us. And a lot of the feedback is that we just literally, they just at our feet while we exercise. And most of the workouts, like, as I said, are only 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And you find that time in your day. So Julius and I enjoy to work out together. It's one of the things that we enjoy doing with the kids, but it's not the same for everyone. Like, some mums literally or dads love to go to the gym. Yep. And that's okay. Don't feel guilt around that if your child's going to the creche or whatever's happening, because it's that tiny little bracket in the day that's allowing you to release that energy. Because for a lot of, and this is actually Julius's philosophy, not mine, and I think it's such a clever one, is when you're depressed or you're anxious or you're upset, rather than look at it as a bad thing and being embarrassed about it, look at it that you have just that extra bit of energy inside you, and you can either release it as anger or you can release it emotionally as crying and this is the behaviours we're teaching our children, remember. And what I've learned is with having so many children and suffering postnatal depression and baby blues and all that sort of stuff, is just really to exercise. Because I find if I just take 10 minutes and literally give it everything I've got, if I've got 5 minutes, I just get on and do something that I'm going to be physically exhausted after it. And I mean, if 50 burpees, you are physically exhausted after that, or whatever the exercise may be, even a couple of sprints up and down the yard, I'm exhausted after that. So that just is that release of that energy that you could have yelled at your children for, or you could have screamed at your husband or cried and lost your cool, or you can just release it through exercise. And then, you know what, your children grow up thinking, wow, when my mum is stressed, she just finds a way to get rid of it through exercise so she can maintain her composure as a mum and a wife and just be happy.
So that really helped you through postnatal depression?
Yes, it did, because I didn't want to, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with medication. I didn't want to take the medication path because of the side effects. And I just know that the brain is obviously the brain's quite a complex thing, and there's got to be natural ways around it for me. And that's what I chose to do. And obviously there's different levels and different scales of postnatal depression. So some women are in a completely different situation than I am. But I just found through exercise and eating extremely clean, healthy food, so vegetables and plant-based was my predominant food. Because I find sugar really messes with your behaviour, as well as grains just aren't good with weight loss and kind of clog you up. And I find that grains aren't great, and dairy. So I just sort of cut all that sort of stuff out and just ate loads of veggies and salads and smoothies and that sort of thing. And that kind of really changed for me, just going through it and seeing myself come out the other side. And Julius watching as well was like, wow, okay, there's something to this. Yeah.
And I've heard also, when your gut, so what's going into your stomach, and when your gut is very healthy, then that can really help with depression or not having depression as well.
Also, your testosterone levels, like women have testosterone in their body, they've got a lot less than men. But if your testosterone's lower, or your, I'll first start with testosterone rather than going into copper. But testosterone, if it's really low and you've got next to none in your system as a woman, you don't like sex. And I mean, you might still find your husband sexy, you just don't feel like sex. It's like not that you don't it's not that you find them horrid, which they probably think you do. They're probably like, what's wrong with me? But it's more that you just don't feel like it as a woman. So women should get their testosterone checked, and also copper levels. Like for me, having baby after baby after baby after baby, when you're pregnant, your copper levels go up as well. So it's a good thing just to get those sort of things checked and analysed for yourself, because it's an easy fix, but we think there's something wrong with us, or we're too embarrassed to reach out because you forget everyone else is going through the same thing, and it's not something to be embarrassed about at all. It's just our journey and life, and it's part of it. So yeah,
it's a really great tip, Sharny. You know that a lot of the things, you know, that are already in our bloodstream that we can get analysed, so that we can actually see what's going on and understand our internal workings that bit better, is a really, you know, it's a really great thing for us all to do.
Yeah, and also stress releases cortisol.
Yep.
And so stress can actually cause you to not lose weight. So for a lot of people who are trying to lose weight after babies, or just because they've had a good time for a few years, you need to start losing some weight after their enjoyment over a few years of Christmas weight gain or Easter or whatever, bit of partying, stress. And the stress of weight loss, because a lot of people get stressed about weight loss, and that's just going to stop you from losing weight. So it's so important to remember through a weight loss journey or whatever, that just to remain happy. Choose happiness. It's just, and it's a lot, sometimes it takes that discipline of just doing it over and over again. You're not going to just, oh, this lady's crazy. How can you just choose to be happy? But literally, you can choose your thoughts. It just takes practice and discipline and practice. So, and I'm still mastering it. I'm not an expert. So I just enjoy the process of doing it and how you feel after you've done it.
Do you do affirmations or positive thoughts? Yeah, you do?
I find that if I've taken a week or two off them due to 1,000 excuses that I don't need, I can notice. So as soon as I start doing them again, and just that belief in yourself that I am and I can, and having that positive, happy, the energy, and some people say the universe, or whatever you want to call it, it really does work. What you think about and what you focus on, you get more of. So you want to focus on the good stuff, so that that ripple effect happens for you. And teaches your children as well of how to deal with things through life, because they are a lot cleverer sometimes than we give them credit for. Little people are just amazing, and we learn, and Julius and I learn so much from our kids every single day as parents, and our kids are having 6 kids, that their personalities are all very, very different.
Yeah.
We don't parent them all the same. We parent our children the way they need it, because sometimes one of your kids may need a little more, and they may need to, you know, come one-on-one and go to grocery shopping with you alone, just to get that one-on-one time. So yeah, I think it's important for us as parents to really make sure that we're looking after ourselves in our mind and our body, so that we can be amazing parents.
Are your affirmations around fitness, or are they around happiness? Do you want to?
Yeah, I actually give an example in my Fit Mum program for mums, because it's hard sometimes. You're like, what should I say?
Yeah.
A list of like 10 that they can print out and use them as an example. But I am beautiful. I am sexy. I am fit. I am an amazing wife. I'm an amazing mother. I like just whatever works for you, and they change all the time. You don't have to have the same ones forever. Just have to set a goal and have a list of goals. Like Julius and I write down our goals every day. We find when you rewrite them, if you go, you know what, I don't want that goal anymore, you can just scratch it off and write a new goal. You don't, because you've committed to a goal, it's okay if it changes. Like a lot of people think that they've got to, because they've written that goal down, I must stick to that goal. But
that's not going with the flow, is it?
Yeah, exactly. So you know what, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to change my goal. So,
yeah.
And by writing it every day, it's reiterating it for yourself, and it's keeping it present. There's a lot of amazing magic that happens around that as well. So,
how great. I love that, Sharny. So much better than a to-do list.
Yeah.
So much more empowering, and then your to-do list can come out of that.
Yeah, and you might still have your to-do list of your few little odd jobs.
But it can come out of that rather than just this ongoing to-do list.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful, wonderful. And do you want to take us through your quick 4 5-minute routine that you said you had for us?
Oh my goodness, how about I would have to, yeah, so basically all it is I do, there's a few of them. There's the
Yeah.
burpee, which is 50 burpees, or you can do one where there's squats, push-ups and dips, and you just do a round of those for 4 minutes. So you do 20 seconds as fast as you can, and you keep doing that until your 4 minutes is up. So you can just...
So what's that, squats? What are dips?
Dips are where you, let me just move this down just a little. You have your arms on a chair or a bench.
Yep.
And you're just dipping up and down. So
yep. So you're working your arms then.
Yeah, you're working your triceps. Yeah, which is great. But it just gets your heart rate up because you're doing it fast.
Yeah.
Use any combination. Like you can literally run around in the backyard with your children or chase them for 4 minutes. They're exhausted. You're exhausted, and it's just awesome. And they will remember those sort of things. Like
as fun.
Yeah, and trampoline, like most families will have a trampoline as well, which is a great form of exercise, just jumping on the tramp with your kids. They'll remember that as a memory forever, and you're getting cardio or exercise at the same time. So it's just meant to be fun. Like Jules and I, honestly, just when we exercise, we have fun. And every day, if you wake up and go, you know what, I just want to have a fun day. So everything I do today, I'm just going to have fun and look at the fun side of it. If you kind of do that every day, some days it'll be harder than others, but it will, that whole discipline thing will sort of kick in eventually.
I love that. I love that. I've seen a few of your videos, how you have integrated, like taking the kids to the park and lunging while they're on the swings and everything.
Yeah.
And I can even imagine you lunge when you do your laundry and...
Not all the time, but I was squatting and lunging while I was breastfeeding, and that I got in big trouble for that. No, I didn't. There was a lot of people that were like, "Oh my God, she should sit down and actually bond with her baby." Squatting or lunging and breastfeeding at the same time. But I've also got 5 other kids that need me at the same time. So. And Magnus breastfeeds 7 times a day, and so he's still doing night feed. So there's plenty of sit down and we gaze into each other's eyes and breastfeed like that. But for me, if the kids really want me outside and they want to show me a trick that they've got on their scooter, then I go outside. And if I'm breastfeeding, while I'm standing there, I may as well do some lunges and enjoy them at the same time. So it's the ultimate way to fit everything in, isn't it, Sharny? Totally. You've got to multitask and try and work things out around your day.
Yeah. So when your new women who've just signed up for your course start, how do you get them to sort of just remember to keep active and remember to, have fun and remember? Like, do you suggest they put sticky notes up, or how do you go?
They've got me. I've got a lot of videos in there that they can watch over and over again, and I know that a lot of them do. They watch the videos on happiness and all different sorts of things just to get them, and feedback from them is that they just love to watch me, which is really nice for me because I'm just me and I think I'm just Sharny trying to get through my life. So if even 10 women can be inspired by what I do, then it feels amazing that I'm on the right track. So they also have their printouts and everything like that they do, and then I'm on email. So a lot of them will email me every couple of days just to check in if they have a question or if they just need to just get something off their chest, which is nice because we all kind of need that friend that whether it's accountable or tell them, no, that's not okay, you need to keep going, you're okay, or they might, it's very different for every mum is going through different things. But if I can just be on the other end of an email or a Facebook message for them when they're having a rough day, it helps so much for them.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And it helps me as well. As you teach and you guide someone, it kind of keeps me on track, especially after Magnus and juggling kids. And I've got a new baby and I'm going through all of that, to still be able to reach out and help them. It keeps me on track as well. So I thank them every day for allowing me to do it, because it kind of keeps me accountable as well.
Yeah, that's actually a really great way that even when I've spoken with other experts, it's like you do the thing that you want to keep in your life.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. Like I had a mum 3 weeks ago from Melbourne message and say, can I please do one-on-one with you? I've got the Fit Mum program, I've got the meal plans, you guys have done a meal plan for me, but I'd like to just chat to you for 30 minutes once a week just if that's okay. And I'm not taking any private coaching clients. And Julia said to me, honey, I really feel like you should take her on because it'll really just keep you in the game and get you back on track after Magnus. And because I've been feeling a bit down that my abs weren't closing up as quick as they normally do and all those sort of things. And it's nice, I guess, that I'm close with Julius because he'll be like, just take pressure off yourself. And he talked me into coaching this particular lady.
Yeah.
So that, and it did. It's nice to just get your finger back in the pie or whatever, get back in the game and do that. So I've just been coaching a couple of mums that needed it now, which has, helped me. And I've said that to them. Thank you. You kind of helped me by me teaching you and sort of dusting off the tools.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that I really notice in this interview, Sharny, is your beautiful relationship with Julius. And although we weren't going to talk about it, what would you say is, you know, for all of us who are married or in relationships and want extraordinary lives, you know, all over, what would you say is, you know, your experience with Julius and keeping that relationship alive and beautiful?
I think for us, it's where you, as a husband and wife, or as you with your partner, you're on a journey together. So there's no boss or there's no person that's in charge, and no one should be the controller. You're just on a journey and you're walking. You've chosen to take that journey in life together, and you're going to disagree on things. But as much as you disagree, it's okay totally to disagree because you're two different people. But you kind of need to just enjoy each other and listen to each other. So if Julius has something that he needs to express, we're just open to it and we're always honest with each other. So whatever's on our mind, we always just say it rather than, and for a lot of people that might be take some work and some exercise to get used to hearing things that you may not want to hear.
Yeah.
If you accept it, and sometimes for me, Julius might tell me something and I'm like, oh, okay. And it might take me a few hours and I'm like, no, thank you. You are really right. And I'm grateful and I love you and thank you for bringing it up to me, you know. And that's so important, like for me especially, to grow and learn and self-develop as a human, and for him, our relationship as well, and vice versa. So,
yeah. That's what it really sounds like, that you take his coaching and he takes yours.
Yeah.
And that is what keeps you really strong and united together.
Yeah, and even with the kids, if we've got something we need to talk about with each other, we do it when they're in bed.
Yeah.
Just because they don't need to feel the tension of whatever's going on. So we try to keep things as much as they're little people and they understand. I just don't think they need to hear certain conversations, as you know. So if we do, if Julius or I do something with the kids or say something and he doesn't agree with it, he'll talk about it later, type of thing.
Yeah. And you've got an older child as well, so that's obviously how you've been with him as well.
Absolutely, but we're very grateful for the way we've brought Josh up. We've got a really open relationship, and a lot of Josh's friends have even said, wow, Josh, I don't have the same relationship with my parents as you do with yours. What do you, and he goes, well, mum and dad have always been open with me, and I felt like I could go to them with anything and they won't judge me. So for any parents out there that do have teenage kids, close off as they reach that 13, 14-year-old mark, Julius and I found that becoming his friend rather than his parent, because by the time your child is 13 and 14, you've already established a lot of behaviours with them and you've taught them and you've been on a journey and guided them, that their friends then become their peers and they learn a lot from their friends at that age. So you should keep their friends close.
Yep.
Invite their friends over so you know their friends well, because that's important for us. Like we've got Josh is going camping for Easter and we've got 30 of his friends coming to have a barbecue lunch and a swim before they go up to the beach for camping for Easter.
Right. And
that's a lot of people.
That is. That's a full-on party.
Yeah, it is. But we just want Josh to know that they're welcome. Like he even said to us, you sure, Mum and Dad, it's a lot. And I'm like, no, that's okay. We really want to meet your friend and it'll only be an hour or so and you guys will have to get on the road. So we'd love to meet because he's got a couple of new friends that we haven't met. So, for us, that's
So
one thing.
you keep the friends close as well as a way of keeping everybody's relationship really tight and intimate.
Yeah. And for me, I'm very controlling as a mum, like, because I just want to, which is, most mums will be laughing because I just want to protect him forever.
Yeah.
And Julius has been such an amazing guidance for me around this, because he's had a mum who was controlling the same way. And he said, honey, he's our friend now. We don't tell him what to do anymore. We guide him if he needs it and if he asks for us. But if he doesn't tell us something, then we don't need to pry, or he'll just tell us if he needs us, and we're just there for him if he makes mistakes, because he's transitioning into adulthood. He's not quite this adult, and as an adult we're always learning anyway, so I don't think that journey ever ends.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, so for me, I had to just realise I'm his friend now and I'm not his parent anymore, and I can't control him. That job's over. Or you never really control your kids anyway. I find that doesn't work.
Yeah.
For us anyway. So I find that it kind of backfires when you make your children do something. So we kind of are more passive. We call ourselves passive. We do passive parenting rather than, it kind of works for us.
Well, that's just more of being in the flow, isn't it, Sharny?
Yeah, and it totally is. And Josh actually, our older son, who's the 19-year-old, he even sometimes be like, Mum, and give me advice around things if I'm like stressed. Like the other day this was actually probably, I think Magnus was about 3 weeks old. Actually, I'll show you Maggie.
Yes, please.
Here he is.
Hello.
Hi, my darling. Hi. I might just pick him up. Is that okay?
Yeah, please do. We would love him to
he
be
wants to talk.
here.
Hi.
My son has run in the middle of other interviews as well, and I just go, well, you know what? We're working mothers. That's what it's like.
Yeah. So
hello, Magnus.
Say hi. So Magnus would have been about 3 weeks old, and I was just trying to juggle everything. And Josh said, Mum, it's okay. And he sort of just gave me a little piece of advice and gave me a hug just when I needed it.
Yeah.
So I love you, Mum. Everything will be okay. You've just had Magnus, like just relax, go with the flow, and just kind of just put me back into perspective. And I was like, actually, yeah. So kids are amazing. Parents should just, sometimes you learn so much from your kids, hey, and it's just precious.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And my best friend has a very similar style of parenting to you, and she's a complete inspiration that, it's not about always having the rules and boundaries, and it actually is about having the relationship. And I think that's what you, Julius, and your whole family is all about.
Yeah.
And why you're so wildly popular, certainly here in Australia, because relationship with your clients is what you're about as well.
Yeah, no, and everyone just wants to be heard, don't they? Like, they just and want to be listened to.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just got to listen.
Thank you so much, Sharny, for sharing your journey today with the Sweet Spot. We do have some giveaways, and they're all in the links that are on the screen or that were in the email. And thank you, Sharny and Julius and Magnus. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Say bye. And also, I've got I'm giving away the Fit Mum program and a couple of cookbooks. So yeah.
And that's all in the link that all of our viewers have seen. So thank you so much for your generosity, Sharny, and we'll see you all again tomorrow night on the Sweet Spot.